Alright, so if you saw the last video, you'll know that I was working through these integration tests, and there's just a lot to go, and I'm feeling lazy, so I'm thinking I want to just do something a bit more fun. So what I thought was, it would be cool to add like an Easter egg to Lazygit, where you can play Snake within Lazygit. So that's what I'm going to try and do. The way I'm going to start is I'm just going to maybe try and focus on making the Snake game like independent of Lazygit, and I'll try and combine it and like render it within one of the views. So what I'm going to do is I'll make another package called Snake, and I guess I'll just call it snake.go. So let's think. I'm going to need a game struct, and the game needs to know about how much space it has to work with, and it needs a way. I suppose what would work best for Lazygit was if it had a way to like call a render function with a bunch of cells to render. And that's basically the important stuff. Other than that, you have this state of the game, which is like the cells that the snake is in and the cell that the food is in. The speed of the game, I'm pretty sure in Snake the speed should be increasing as you get larger. And what else? That's probably enough for now. So I'll have a few things here. So I want to have like a state struct, and it's going to have, I guess I need to have a concept of a position. So I guess position struct says an X and a Y. Whoops. And my state is going to have my snake, which will just be an array of positions, or a slice of positions. Whenever I say array, just imagine I'm saying slice, because in Go you call them a slice. Anyway, food will also have a position, and I suppose the speed of the game can be derived from the length of the snake. So perhaps that should just be like I don't need that to be captured here. So it really is just the snake and the food, I think, that is in the... Oh, and also the direction of the snake. So I'll have a few directions. Up, down, left, and right. So it's going to be a direction. So my game will have a state object, and it's going to have a width and a height, and it'll have a render function. So I think the way I'll do it is, I was thinking I could just have like a two-dimensional array of either ones or zeros. But I might want to color the snake and the food differently. So I'll have a thing here called cell type, and that's going to be either none, meaning that there's just nothing in that cell, or it's the snake, or it's the food. So to render it, it's going to be, it'll be so I'm going to ask like Lazygit to give me the render function, and I'm going to pass into that my cell. So it'll be a two-dimensional array of cells, and I'm also going to have a boolean to tell it if you're dead. So this thing is true if you're dead. So can I name that dead? No. Cells dead. Okay. So this is the stuff we need, and I'm going to have a few functions. So first of all, to create a game, that looks about right. So this is Copilot doing its thing. So yep. I suppose with a game, I want to initialize the state. So, and by the way, I always use self as a receiver name just because I find it much easier to work with. For whatever reason, that's not the idiom that Go uses, and I find that absurd. Whatever. So let's see, we have a state here, the snake starts at 0, 0. It's a bit weird. And the food starts halfway through the screen. I might do the opposite of that. Put the snake in the center of the screen. And I'm gonna get like a random position. So, random pause. And what I might do is actually, I should say food, new food position. So what I'm going to do in this function is, maybe Copilot's smart enough to do it for me, but the idea is I'm going to make this state first. Why can't I use this? It needs to be an array. Yeah, so it's just going to be, and the way this thing will work is that first element is the head, final element is the tail. So when you start off, you're just a single cell. So and you're just going to start in the center of the screen. In fact, to make that even more clear, I'm going to make that a variable, center of screen. And that is a pause. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that just yet. So I've got my state, but I wanna say that my I'm just gonna make this actually set new food pause. Self dot set new food position. So what this will do is it'll come up with like a random place to put the food, but it'll need to just make sure that it doesn't show up in the middle of the snake, which would be a bit weird. So I'm just gonna have a for loop here, and let's see. Does Copilot come through with the goods? Okay, rand. We're using math rand here. Okay, this does not include n. So from 0 up to whatever you pass in here, this is just the int-n function from the rand package. So it's saying it won't include n. So this is going to be passing the width. If the width is 5, then it'll be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's good. That's what we want. So we say self.state.food equals this, and I'm actually going to just not mutate this thing just yet. So new pause, new food pause is a pause. At the very end, I'll actually set it. So okay, so you pick a random position. Then we make sure that the food isn't on the snake, so food on the snake is false, and we go through each position of the snake. If it's there, then food on the snake is true. Then we break out of this for loop. Why would I break out of this for loop? And if the if not food on snake, then break. Now, funnily enough, a pause is something, I'm not passing a pointer to a position, so I believe I can test positions for equality. So I should be able to just make this a bit cleaner by just saying, I use the low library, which I very much like. Snake is an array of pauses. Does that work? Okay, so this contains method is just a generic method that just checks if something is included in another element. So included in a slice. And as long as they're comparable, then it works. So I guess these things are comparable, so that's good. So I'm just saying if my snake contains, if the positions of the snake contains my my new food position, then I need to try again. So I guess if it doesn't contain that, then I can just set this thing and return. Otherwise, I'll just keep going. Now, I suppose, like, what the hell? Whoops, wrong way around. I suppose it's possible this loop could go forever. So you can imagine a situation where you have like a very small screen size and there's just no room left to put my fruit. So although that's unlikely to happen, I'm just wondering, is there an easy way for me to say that, and this thing isn't even needed here, I can do this. Is there an easy way for me to say that if there's no more room left, you win? I've never even won Snake, so I just assume that nobody ever wins it. Maybe it's possible to win it. I'm too lazy to think about that right now, so I just say assume the player never actually wins, meaning we don't get stuck in a loop. I mean, I suppose you could do a thing where you just check if the length of the snake is equal to the number of cells, then you win. But I'm just not going to think about that right now. If people find the Easter egg in Lazygit and they win the game and then it causes their computer to crash because, or whatever happens because this loop is infinite, then we're in trouble. Maybe I'll just put a hard limit in here saying like limit equals. Actually, I could just make this a just panic at the end. What? You actually won? No, actually, it doesn't mean that you won. It just means, sorry, but I was too lazy to make the snake game smart enough to put the food somewhere sensible, no matter what. And I also was too lazy to add a win condition. So what I'll do is I'll do like for I equals 0, I is less than some large number. You can try 1,000 times. Yeah, so we'll try like 1,000 times, and then if it still can't find one, then we'll just panic and say, sorry, it's too lazy. Okay, so that's good. So we've set the new food position there. In fact, I'm gonna make it even. I'll make this actually return a value, or a pos rather. Just gonna return that, and then I'll set it here. Just because if I can have a function that doesn't actually mutate anything, I like to do that. Okay. So that's good. That will start the game, and I suppose this kind of like sets up the initial state. So I might even factor that out into its own method. Is there a way to do that? Is there a refactor option? Oh, cool. I'm going to extract that into a method, and I'm going to call that initialize state. I'm actually thinking right now it would even be nice if I could. Like I was thinking I could pass. No, too lazy. I was going to say I could pass the snake in as an argument, and then just set self.state in one go. But whatever. I'm trying to just smash through this. I'm going to ignore that. Okay, so we initialize the state, and then we want to kind of get a loop going where we run like an update step within the loop. So I'll have an update method. And what update will do is it's going to return, I'll make it return a boolean, and the boolean will tell you whether you're dead, I guess. So let's see what Copilot wants me to do. So switch self.state.direction. Okay, that's the head position. It's going to be here, here, yep, that all makes sense. Okay, if you're outside the frame, then we're going to return false. well, Copilot thinks we should return false if we're dead. Whatever, that works. Contains, so if my snake contains the new head position, I want to call this thing snake positions. I'm just going to do that. Snake positions. I'll call this food position. And you know what? I'm going to call this position. Just because it's kind of, may as well just say what it is. Okay. Self.state.snake positions. I'm going to append the new head position to the existing ones. That makes sense. And if the new head position equals the food position, then it's going to set the new food position. Otherwise, snake positions it's going to, hang on. So if I've successfully, in this update step, found the food, then I'm just going to find some new place for the food. But if that's not the case, I need to remove the tail. Right, this is the end. So the idea is that here I'm adding a new cell to my snake, right? Which suggests that we have just successfully got the food, because you grow by 1 when you get the food. But if I haven't actually found the food, I need to remove the tail. And I'm thinking about this, like, is it more efficient to have the tail at the beginning or the head at the beginning? Because here I effectively have to create a new slice on each update. I mean, the typical update, you have to go and add the head and remove the tail. So you're kind of doing it either way, it sounds like. And again, it's just not a big deal. So let's ignore that. Copilot seems to have got this basically correct. So that's good. So that's the update method implemented. So back over in start, I want to have, I actually want to pass in a context here so that it's cancelable. So I'll pass in context.context. I'm going to do this in a Go routine so that this is like a non-blocking thing. And let's see if Copilot is smart enough to work out what to do. I should, as you can tell, I'm in my garage, so my internet's not great. I'm hotspotting from my phone, and my phone is on the cheapest possible internet plan. So whatever, I'll have to just use my brain to work this out. So it's going to be a for loop, and oh, here it is. So okay, if the context is done, we'll just return. But otherwise, so I'm not sure about using the default. I want to actually have a speed. So let's have another method set called get speed. It's going to return an int, and it's going to be dependent on the size of the snake. So the longer the snake, the faster the speed. So I guess I can just return the length of self.snake positions. And over here, rather than use a default, we'll see if Copilot's smart enough to help me out here. We have a separate case. Okay, so it's saying time.duration 1000 divided by the speed in milliseconds. So let's say that the snake is only size 1. Then this will be 1, so this will be 1000, so it'll be 1000 milliseconds. So what it means is it'll be 1 cell per second to start with, which is a bit slow. You would think it'd be like half a second. So maybe I'll start at 500 here. Okay, so we'll do the update. That tells us if it's alive or not. If it's not alive, we want to do something about that. Why is this complaining? So we want to let's see, render get cells true. So maybe maybe actually what we should be doing is, regardless, we'll call this render function. But this is just going to tell us whether it's alive or not. So let's see, render get cells. Yes, fair enough. We do need that to exist. Okay. We'll work that out later. And this is going to return an array of cell type. Okay, so back over to our start method. So work out if it's live. We'll render the cells. When you think about it, yeah, I think it's fine. Okay, so let's get the cells. And then we'll call the render function with that. And then we return. Okay, that's good. So I think that's pretty sensible. Now let's find out how to render these things. Again, Copilot, let's see what you can do. So, cell type, self.width. For each row, no, self.width? That's confusing. Wouldn't you want that to be height? It makes no difference, but typically the way I think about things is you've got rows and then columns in the rows. So for each row, we're going to have some empty cells, empty columns. And then snake positions, so... Oh, I see, right. You want to be able to say X, Y easily. That's why they did height first. Whatever. Either one works. Okay, so... For the snake positions, we have a snake here. For the food position, we have food, and we return the cells. Cool. So I think this is basically everything you need. So what I'm going to do now is I want to have like a way to just quickly test this out in my own terminal. So I'm going to have a separate thing here. How do I do this? Let's make another file called main.go. I don't even know if I'm allowed to do this, but if I go package, snake, does it let me do that? I think I can have a main.go here. Let's just test if this works. Oops. And I'm gonna go run this thing. Yeah, I thought so. Put that in here, and just package main. Cool. So I want to import my game. So snake dot game, new game, game equals this. I'll need my render function. So my render function is going to take, well, it's going to have the same interface that this thing has. So it's going to take this. And hopefully Copilot can help me out. Come on, Copilot, do something. Well, okay, the plan is to just write like ASCII stuff. So for unfortunately these cells, this is why I wanted to do the other way. Cells. I'm just going to switch this over to using height first and then width. And then I'll just make a little function here saying like set cell. I'll do it the other way around. So y first, then x equals value. Funnily, it should actually just take a position. So let's change this to be a position. And now this can just be pos snake. Okay, let's look at this. So, it's actually going to be a bunch of rows, and so therefore you need to specify the row first before you specify the column. And that all seems pretty sensible. Okay, so that's good. Back over here, I want to go through my rows. So for row in the range of the rows, and then for the cell in the range of the row. Sorry, for each row in all my cells, I guess it's weird calling it cells. Maybe I should call it something like map or like screen. Anyway, I'll call these cols. It's a row. Although it really is, I mean, this is a cell. Yeah, it's kind of awkward calling this thing cells. Anyway, so what do we do? I want to be producing a string to render. So string. How do I get a string builder? Is it called a string writer? Yes. I'm looking at another example from something else. Oh, it's an interface. Give me a string builder. Builder. String writer. Write string. Takes a writer. What's like the typical thing that you use to... Where does this get called from? Aha! Strings.builder. Nice. Okay. So... so here I'll say writer dot write string space. Can that fail? Yes. But it probably won't fail. So given that it's just a test, I'm not going to worry about that stuff. Unless there's some other way to just like write like the entire thing. Yeah, it's going to write the whole thing anyway. Okay. So, or I could just write rune. Not a big deal. Okay, so my snake, I'm just going to get an X. My food's going to be an O. And once I'm done, I'm going to write a new line to my string. So, okay, I've got my writer now. And so now I want to just say like fmt.print writer.string. Print line, I suppose. And maybe I want to like have a bunch of new lines between each thing. So give me just a shit ton of new lines. I think there's a thing where I can say strings dot repeat new line like fucking 20 times. So I'm going to create my game. I'll pass in my render function. and then I'll say game.start. And it needs a context. So context equals context dot background. Cool. So the plan, I mean, the way it would work actually is you when you pass like when you enter in something like an interrupt, it'll kill the game. But in this case, I can just kill the whole program. So what I'll do is I'll just run this and see what happens. Absolutely nothing. Okay. Okay, so why is that? So I create my game, I start the game. Do I ever get into my render function? No. I've initialized the state. Do I ever even get past that? Yes. Okay, so we go into this guy. Oh, maybe it's because my program actually ends almost immediately. So, okay. I want to wait until the game has finished. So, I mean, I could just do something stupid like this. Sleep for 10 seconds. Really? Okay, that's funny. I tell it to sleep for 10 seconds, and it just completely seems to ignore that. That's interesting. Have I misunderstood how sleep works? Like, you could make it where the game returns a context, which it can cancel upon the game being over. But I'm just wondering if I would want that to be the interface that Lazygit uses, because Lazygit is already running. It's probably just going to respond to this render method. So the render method might say, okay, we're dead, so therefore we'll just clean up the game or whatever. So I don't really see the need for having that kind of asynchronous communication there. So for now, I just need to get this thing to actually sleep. Why is it not sleeping? Sleep at end of main function go. Maybe the compiler is optimizing it out. Oh, you're going to pass in. Right, it's going to be in nanoseconds. Okay, that makes sense. Whatever, second. Okay, let's try that. Bit weird. Make it 100. So let's see. After duration times millisecond. Doesn't update. I'm just going to say fnt.print line updating. Oh, it's unconditionally returning. Whoops. If not alive, return. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, cool. It might be a little clearer if I actually rendered this thing with like where am I? With the actual frame. So let's say cells 0. So I want to have like the outside block character. Let me copy your stupid character. Here we go. Cool. So we'll do that for the width, and then for each row, what I want to do, I'll actually make it the width plus 2. And then within each row, I'm gonna just have one of these on either side. And then I'll also do this at the end as well. Okay, let's give that a go. It's kind of funny. Why is this thing here? Why is that thing there? I must have forgotten the new line afterwards. That's true. That's true. I'll just put it here. So we just have a bunch of new lines just to separate one frame from the next. Have another new line here. Let's try that. I don't understand why there's one at the bottom though. It's a bit weird. Who knows? Now, if I am dead, I want it to tell me that. So, game.start render. So, if I'm dead, just panic. Or just log.fatal. You died. Is this thing saying that it's dead or alive? Okay. Cool, now it's going to allow for like adding some input. So, how the hell do I do that? Read input from standard in for changing direction. Come on, Copilot, help me out. So I guess the problem with this is it's going to be scanning a line. Set directions undefined. Oh, I didn't even realize. Oops. So I have a bad feeling that I need to actually use like a new line between each thing. So let's try this out. No, what? A should go left. Ah. A. Oh, this should be in a loop. Alright, go up. Go left. Go down. Go left again. Go down. Shit. Not exactly silky smooth. But if I can just, if I could just get one quick test in. Oh, I can turn left. I probably shouldn't allow that, but you'll just eat yourself, so who cares? Come on. Yep. Come on. Fuck. It's hard to test. At any rate, it seems good. So, I think that's enough of a stress test to try and actually use this within Lazygit. What I might do is, let's see, is it worth trying to write a test for this? Yeah, I might as well add like at least just a couple of tests. So I could just basically pass the state and then get the new state afterwards. So in fact, what does this use? Head pause width. It'd be really cool if this was actually just returning a state. That would make testing a bit easier. Oh, let's say current state, and it'll return the next state. So let's get all this stuff and call it current state. So we're mutating here. I suppose I want to copy the state. New state equals copy current state. Can I do that? How do I think that's copying by value, so that should be fine. Not that it really matters what the old state is anyway. So I've got my new state here. But if we're passing the state by value anyway, then I should just be able to mutate it. At any rate, so this is all now new state. Now return. Yeah, it's tough though, because if I return the new, I want to return the state, and I want to also return whether it's like lived or died. So we'll return two things here. Although I keep thinking about, like, this is such a waste of my time because it's just an Easter egg anyway. So no time for purity. Let's stick to the focus, which is coming up with a sensible test. Snake test. Okay. Func test. Snake. Whoops. Whoops. Okay, so the way it's going to work is I'll just have like a state, and then I want to know what's the next state, and I want to know whether I'm dead or not. So I guess in each of my scenarios I'll have, let's see, scenarios. It's going to be an array of struct where it contains a state, expected state, and expected alive boolean. So this, as a quick example, and I suppose I want to have like a game board as well. So I suppose that's okay. We can just assume that we'll have the same size board. So I'm gonna say for each of my scenarios, game equals new game 10 10. I think this can just be nil because I don't think what we're testing is actually going to call that. We'll set the state of the game, and I'm going to call tick. Maybe it should have been called tick. It's actually a nice name. Let's do that. Tick. So now we want to see if the game state matches what we expect. And I can't compare them because it contains a slice. If let's do assert dot equal values. So here I'm just using the assert package to make things a bit simpler. So we assume that the expected state is going to be the same as the state, and I think the first one's supposed to be expected. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. So after that, I want to assert that I'm not dead. So assert dot equal values. I guess just equal should work here. T scenario dot expected alive. Okay, so what we're going to start with is snake positions. I'm just going to make it something. I suppose like the obvious one is like when you're right in front of. I guess maybe the obvious one is when you just move one position. So from like 5, and where your direction is right. And what else is in this thing? Food position is going to be a position 9, just something out of the way. And my expected state is going to be 6, 5, and I expect it to still be alive. Okay, does this pass? Yes. Okay, next one, and this isn't going to be exhaustive. It's just as a sanity check. Next one, I want to have a snake that's about to eat its own tail. So let's say the snake, it's 5, 5, 4, 5. 5, 5 is the head. 4, 5, and then I need 4, 4. And then I need 5, 4. Is that right? So it's like so 5, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, and you're going up. So it's looping back around, and I expect it to. I don't even know what the state's supposed to be when it dies. Maybe I shouldn't even return. Like arguably the state doesn't even matter once it's dead. Like really, this thing should return like an enum of either the new state or whether it's dead. So as a quick way to make that happen, I'm actually going to go with the idea of just copying by value. But if I copy by value, you still have the slice there. It's annoying. Whatever. Let's just see what the test says. So it should still be up here. I don't expect it to be alive. I suppose I could just say I don't care what the state is. I could say if scenario dot expected alive, then I'll check, not that thing, I'll check the actual state. Yeah, so you're probably noticing that there's all kinds of tech that I'm introducing here, but again, it's supposed to be time boxed. So we have a state that doesn't really matter here, so I'm just going to get rid of this thing. But I expect it to be not alive. Let's try that. It passes. Cool. And let's do another one where it's probably closer to this, where it's about to get fruit. So this guy's on 6-5. It's moving to the food is just to the right. It's moving to the right. I expect it to now have two positions, 6-5 and 5-5. And the food position, do I actually... Ah, shit, it's using a randomized thing. Ah, that sucks. Set new food position. Random int. What I'm going to do is I'll have a thing here called get random int function. Just random int function. Function that returns an integer, given an integer. And it's going to be just by default it'll be this, but in the actual test I'm going to overwrite that so that it's not randomized. So I'll say here game.randomInt function equals a function that returns let's return, well, for my case, I want it to be, I guess, just anywhere. 9 works, or 8. 8. Okay, does that work? No. I'm getting 1 and 7. That's because I'm not actually using that function. So, where am I? ram.intn self.randomInt function. Try again. Cool. Okay, that is wholly sufficient for what I'm trying to do right now. So we've established that it can eat its own tail and die. It can eat some fruit and grow, and it can just move in general. So that's good. Okay. Alright, so we have our admittedly flawed snake game, which could use some refactoring, but it works well enough for now. And so the next step is to actually integrate this thing into Lazygit somehow. So I'm going to save what I have so far. Oh, snake. Add snake game. And we'll check if I'm still recording, because it'd be embarrassing if I wasn't. Okay, good. Alright. We have a game. So the next step is to actually plug this thing in somewhere. I suppose I need, like, I need a view to put the game in. So let's jump out of here and let's actually look at, do I have a views file? Okay. So I'm going to create a new view here called the snake view. Sankey, snake, Sinek. One day I'll learn how to spell. Okay. Snake. We're playing the Easter egg snake game. Okay, I want it to be at the very end, so it's going to be on top of the other views. Snake, snake. And I suppose it's going to have a frame. I think by default these things have frames. Background color, foreground color. What's the typical stuff that we do here? Foreground color, title. I guess I want to have a title called snake. Snake title. Snake. Okay. That's just my internationalization stuff. So we have our view. Now, can I run Lazygit? Will it just crash? Okay, that's this thing here. Okay, so I've got a file for actually arranging these things. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to I want to give this thing the same like window that the file view has, because just that's where you start. And I need to work out how to do that. So side panel children. Oh, it's got this window called files. Right, so there's a concept of windows versus views. So a window is like, see this thing here, this local branches thing? It's a window, but you can go to the remotes view, the tags view, you can go to the commits view, or the subcommits view. So that's all one window. And so I want to use the same concept up here. I want to use this window, put my snake view inside that. So what I want is a concept of I've called it a context, which is, at the time it made sense, but it makes less sense now, especially because in Go you have a thing called a context. So I'm going to find my files context, or is it called worktree context? And I'm just going to copy and paste this thing, call it the snake context. And it's going to be fairly bare bones, so snake context. It's not going to have really anything in it. It's not going to be a list context. It's not going to have any of this shit. So on focus, get display strings, helper common. Oh boy. Get selected item ID. Do I need this thing? View model. Can I just remove everything here? This context tray, simple context. Give me a simpler thing. What's like really simple? Dash context. Don't I have like some other place where I specify a bunch of just random crap? Branches context, base context. I swear I have a file that has a bunch of just miscellaneous stuff. It's not that complicated. Simple context. Context config. Ah, here we go. Global status. Simple context. Okay, let's grab this guy. And I'll make a thing called snake. Snake. And the window is going to be the files window. The view is going to be the snake view. And this needs to be refactored. There's no need to separate a context from a view anymore because actually now it's one-to-one, but I just haven't gotten around to fixing that. It is a side context because it'll live on the side. It has a context key. It is focusable. On render to main, status render to main. This thing does not render to main, so I guess it won't have anything there. Okay, so can I run Lazygit now? Oh, right, I gotta go back to this. Yeah, so this thing doesn't even need to exist. I can just delete this file. It's still showing up here. There's a thing for getting the initial context. Initial context. So what I'm going to do is just to do, be smarter about this. Return context tree dot snake. Oh, it has to be a list context. Ooh. That's annoying. Where's this used? Does it really need to be that? Well, the green frame says that it's now focused, but it's in the wrong place still. I don't understand why it wouldn't be put in the right place. Prepare the view. So my layout file, I actually talk about how to lay out all of these things. Set view from dimensions. Has controlled bounds. Flatten. Set view from dimensions. View name, window name. Where's this thing? This tells us if the view's bounds are determined by its window or if they're determined independently. New base context. So where was I before? New base context. New base context ops has uncontrolled bounds. Again, for the sake of making it false, it's the default. So it should just work. File, status context key, focusable true. Why is it not working? Am I looping through something? Was this context for view? Context for view. Context.getViewName equals view.name. Turn context true. Context.flatten. I gotta put it in here. Yeah, this is not great, but okay, that's what it was. Cool. So it has absolutely no key bindings associated with it, but that's okay. So now what do I do? So I guess now I want to say that when the game starts, I'll start a game of Snake, and I'll have this thing like render render to my Snake view. So how do I do that? I need to go to reset state, on new repo, run. So I suppose here's probably a good place for it. Start Snake. Snake dot new game. I've got no idea how to work out what the width and height should be. So view equals GUI.views.snake. This is going to take what? Width height. So the width is going to be view.width, view.height, and I need a way to handle snake render. So now I'll just put that here. Render snake game. That is going to it'll conform to the same thing we had here. So cell type, dead bool, render snake game. I guess this thing won't even have an error, so put this in here. Alright. So how do I render this thing? Does that work? Cells row, set cell, set cursor, you died. I might need to just render this as a string. Similar to what I'm doing in my main.go. Not that one. Like this thing here. Let's just copy this and then tweak it. So we grab the view, we clear the view, we create a string, and I'm gonna go fmt dot print, and you can treat the view as a file. Snake view. Whoops, wait, what? I'm looking for, oh, fprint. 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 There we go. Okay. If I'm not alive, I'll need to deal with that, so. Okay, with I don't know if I need the outer frame anymore, so I'm going to delete these. And you died. I'm happy to actually just keep that as it is for now. So this is going to be if I'm dead. I should just pick either dead or alive, but I can clean that up later. Okay, GUI.quit even. Or something like GUI.error message, you died, and return. Okay, so here we're actually creating the thing to write, and then we print to the view. So I'm going to factor this guy out to its own method. Draw snake game. Okay. I have a strong feeling that the view hasn't actually got an appropriate width and height at this point. It might need to happen after we first render things. So if I go back to layout, I think at the bottom we have a thing. Where is it? Somewhere I do this. Resize pop-up panel. Yeah, this is the place where we actually set the dimensions here. So I might need to do a thing where I just say like, as a once-off, we'll start the game. Or if I go back to, let's see, a render snake game. Okay, I'm gonna have an on focus, but it's not gonna be that. It's gonna be this thing. Okay, so when it gets focused, we'll start the snake game, and by then it should have an appropriate width and height. But that won't be sufficient to start the game. So game equals new game, game.start. And I need a way to cancel this thing. How would I do that? So I'll start by just saying that it won't even be cancelable, just to see if it works. And this is one of the issues of me having a package called context, is that it clashes with the other context. So I need, where's my context thing? Context package. I need the other context package here. What's a good name for it? Go context. Alright, let's see what happens. I die instantly. Don't need this anymore. Seem to die pretty quickly, which tells me that the there wasn't much room. So over in my snake.go, let's see if I can do a sanity check on the actual width and height here. So if width is less than, yeah, then I guess I'd panic. Oh, that's a bit weird. I need to trigger an update here, actually. Update. Render. Re-renders the screen. Yep, cool. Still nothing. I like instantly die. Whoa. Why is that so big? Oh, because it's a function. Let's try that again. That's pretty sensible. So it starts off in the center of that, and it should start moving. It's not clear to me why it's like dying almost instantly. Perhaps it's because this thing actually isn't meaning dead. It's actually just saying it's alive. So I should standardize on that, and let's just make it alive. Yeah, there's only one place saying that. New game. Okay, it was just, yeah, make that make sense. Ooh, okay, so we have something appearing. The color's not fantastic. I think I might need to go back to my views place and set the foreground color. I may as well just do green. And that's the wrong view. Didn't do shit. That's because it says stash. Snake. This should be snake as well. Hey. Okay, now I just need some key bindings. So... Okay, so... I need to make a snake controller. So let's get a really simple controller here. Snake controller.go. And I'm just going to get rid of all this stuff. Snake controller. Notice how I did not have to change this receiver name. Again, I'm a big fan of self. So it is going to be a controller. What's this complaining about? Doesn't implement. It's missing context. What did I just delete before? Snake context. Snake. Why is there a Z there? Oh, right. Snake context isn't a special thing. I don't even really need this. I'll just have the base level interface being used. Self dot context dot snake. Okay. Now for some key binding. So key down, next item. Okay, so I need some functions here. So down. What's the shape of this thing? Okay. Self dot, I'll need a snake game here. So game, is it snake game? self.game.set direction to snake.down. Down, up, left, right. Okay, so when I say next item, I'm going to say self.down. There's no need for these to be public, so... Oh, I got errors, so I can't change it. Can't change it now. That should be snake.game. I'm not going to bother with descriptions right now. Get rid of these. Next item, previous item. Up, left, right. What the hell is my keyboard need to be going right? Is it previous screen? Next block. Okay, that's good. And over in my controllers file, I gotta attach the controller to the context. So, how the fuck does this work? Snake controller, use snake controller, and snake controller. Okay. Let's see what happens. It panics. Oh right, I haven't passed in the snake game. So I need to actually have this game stored on the GUI state. So GUI.go. Where's my state? Repo state? It's not really specific to the repo. So I'd rather just have it here. Snake game, pointed to snake.game. Start game. GUI.snake game equals game. And back over in my snake controller, I'm gonna have this as an argument. So game, point to snake.game. Snake game. There's a good chance that this thing won't be defined at this point in time. We can find out. Shit. And it's not defined. I'll just use some indirection to get around that for now. So get game. Sorry. And this is going to be a function that returns a snake.game. Whoa. Alright, we're in business. Well, it's much faster. What? Oh, because I went backwards. Okay, I need to do a thing where in my snake game, I don't actually want to allow changing the direction to be like wrong. Let's see if don't allow, yeah. Okay. Can I make this a bit cleaner? Can I do this? Right, if you're up, the direction's down, or if you're down and it's up, or left and right, right and left, or return. Okay, let's try that again. We really should just use block characters for the whole thing. But I'll do that in a bit. I'm just trying to go backwards now and verifying it doesn't work, so that's good. At least I don't die. Fuck. Alright. One more time. Actually, let's just verify that we die at the right area, like at the right bounds. That's something I actually think I forgot in the snake test. Okay, that's good. Let's go the other direction as well. Yeah, weird. When you're only one cell, you kind of should be able to just turn around directly. Anyway. And just one more sanity check is to go down. I've already just done going up. Cool. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, good. So that's good. Let's clean up the actual rendering side of this. So start snake. Let's use more block characters. What I want to do actually here is I want to make this like colored. So how the hell do I do that? Style.fg. Yeah, I suppose green makes... Well, the food I want to have magenta. Let's give that a go. I'm pretty blocky. Man, it's going to be like dangerous. Alright, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go! Alright, that's good. Three, two, one, shit. Oh, come on. Ooh, exhilarating. Oh, fuck. Okay, it speeds up pretty quickly, so that probably needs to be tweaked. But that's pretty good. And so now, let's just start again. Oh, because I got focus again. Interesting. That's pretty cool that it just does that. So if I die, go back, give it focus, it just starts again. Oh, how cool is that? Okay. Now, when I press escape, I suppose I want to go back to the, like, actual files panel. So, let's just verify that I can do that. Although I'm completely mesmerized right now by the game. Okay. So I should be able to press escape and leave that thing. So let's go back to my snake controller. Let's add a new thing in here for, is it return? Bad choice of name, but that is what it is. And escape. So what do I want to do here? Self.c. What are my options? I want to push another context. The files context? Is that what it's called? Working tree context. Okay, and I think that returns an error. So I suppose also I want to like remove the game. It probably doesn't matter. This is the place where you'd want to call that cancel thing. Not that it matters that much because the game will end almost immediately afterwards anyway, because you'll die. So it might just simplify the code to not even make it need to be cancelled in the first place. Although if when you die, it will probably show you a pop-up. Let's just see what happens currently. Okay, so I'm in the game, I'm going to go down, I'm going to escape, and it still says you died. So let's just check that again. Down, escape, wait a bit, and it says I died, okay. So I do need to kill the game. I could also just make that a method on the game. It's actually a good idea. Let's go back to the snake game. And I'm going to have my own, I'm going to manage my own context. So, I'm going to, no, that's not how it works. It's going to be a cancel function. Kill. So I'm going to make a new game. I'm going to make a context with cancel. Cancel. I suppose I need both of these here. So context, cancel. And this will now become self.context. It's not going to actually receive something here. And I'll have a new method on this thing called exit, I suppose. Self.cancel. Okay, so that would just mean that this will return, and then the garbage collector will kick in once it's no longer assigned to anything. So, call this exit. Okay. I'll just put that under here. Cool, so now back over in GUI.go, it's going to be complaining about this, that's fine. And what I'll do is, I don't really need to remove the snake game itself, so I'm not going to. It doesn't take up much space. Back in my snake controller, I want to say when I escape, I'm going to say self.getGame.exit. Press escape, wait a bit, and no complaints about me dying. Cool, so that's good. So now I want a way to actually jump into the game rather than doing it based on like the initial context. So how do I do that? I want to have something, I'm going to do it in the files controller. I just need to have a special key binding for this. Or should it be just a menu item with no key? I think everything has to have a key. No, I think if I make this like an empty string, that's allowed. That just means it's not actually bound to anything. I believe that's the case. What does getKey do? Somebody implements this. Oh shit. Well, let's try this for now. And there'll be I'm going to call it Easter egg. I want it to be a surprise. Now, because this will appear in the key binding section, it's actually going to be lowercase. So, Easter egg. Easter egg. Okay. Switch to snake. Start snake game. And so where was that code with the initial stuff? The initial context. This one here. I can revert this as well. So now we start in the files panel. The snake game is not a thing to start with. And now that I think about it, by the time you actually can start the game, the snake, the view will have the right size. So if I go back to my controller, snake controller, rather than saying get game, I can go back to just having it being the game. So, no need for this function thing here. No, I do need to get the game because it'll be a different game every time. Yeah, okay, that's true. Whoops. That's okay. So, what happens now? G, by the way, oh, it does nothing. No, it's the exact same thing as GG. GUI.go, unknown type. Oh, yeah, the get key thing didn't work. Alright, let's close some shit. Keybind, what is it? It's the snake controller? No, it's the files controller. Can I do get key with an empty string? One of these things works. Maybe try nil. Yeah, nice. Okay, that's a bit weird. Why has this thing ended up overlapping? Anyway, let's play the Easter egg. Ho ho! Cool. I think I'm missing something here. So I make a new game and I press start, but I have to wait before I do the first render. So I actually want to do an initial render where I am alive. Cool, that was a bit snappier. Okay, so I'm in Snake, I'm playing Snake, and I decide, you know what? Actually, let's just verify. If I die, I go back, I start again. Okay, cool. And then if I press escape, I'm back in the files panel. Okay, if I go back to here, Easter egg, I'm back to this guy. If I click here, what happens? The game continues, but I can't focus back. Okay, so I should do a thing where... Let's go to here. On focus lost. UI.snakegame.exit. I need to get rid of that window when the focus is lost. GUI dot back. How the fuck do I do this? There has to be a thing. There has to be a GUI context stack. There's some code somewhere where I actually decide how, like when we remove things from the stack and so on. It's not this guy. push context. Yeah, GUI context, okay. So is there a thing in here for replace context, deactivate context? I think it's used internally. Pop context. First refresh, update, activate. Static context. I need to send the guy to the back and deactivate it. But using the actual deactivate method seems a little too internal. Focus lost. Does this even work currently? Let's just verify that this thing actually... Let's just verify that actually works. Okay, it does. So yes, I need to exit the game and I need to actually, like, get rid of this thing. And to do that, something to do with the window. Set window context. Current window, reset window context. Move to top of window. Let's do that. Where's that being done already? We activate it. Let's see if that works. Okay, cool. If I'm back in here, that all works. I can start another game. Sweet. Cool. Okay, so this clearly needs some heavy refactoring because I've just kind of spread code around a bunch of different places. And unfortunately, it's a little bit all over the place just because I haven't had a lot of time to properly, how do you say, clean some things up. But I think this is a pretty good place to end it. So there you go. One of these days, you're going to see this game as an Easter egg in Lazygit. I'm not even going to announce it as in the release notes. I'm just going to say it as an Easter egg. Cool. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.